What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Summer House Martha's Vineyard. This is season 2, episode 5. Yeah, episode 5. So let's get into it. Sometimes before we get into it, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And y'all, this was funny to me. So Preston was on Watch What Happens Live. I actually liked his outfit. He had on like this yellow suit. He looked really nice. But Andy asked him like, how does he feel about Candace and Robin not being a part of Real Housewives Potomac? And Preston was like, oh, I'm sad that Candace won't be returning to RHOP. And Andy was like, and Robin? And Preston was like, I'm really sad she won't be returning next season. And I said, dang. The funny thing about it is Andy, the only reason why I bring this up is it's more so about Andy. I feel like Andy does not like the fact that nobody really likes Robin and Giselle, and he really likes them. And it's just like, I think Andy is uncomfortable that his faves are not liked. Because Andy normally has the popular vote. Like, when everybody was in love with Nene, Andy was riding for her. Same with Portia. Same with Teresa. Like he has his favorites, and he likes when everyone likes his favorites. And I think it bothers him that nobody really sees it for Giselle and Robin, because his face was really like, oh. I said, yeah, nobody liked them people, sir. Like, you got to get over that. I mean, you can like them, but the majority don't. So you got to deal with that. But I just thought that was funny. But let's get to this, y'all. So the episode opens up where it left off, where they're still at the restaurant. We got majority of the cast sitting around the table. Jasmine is crying while you have Amir and Jordan in there getting shots for the table. Amir drank a whole shot, and Jordan's face was like, you okay? And I think Amir said, y'all be stressing me out. But we get back to the table. It's only day 6. They haven't even been down there for a whole week, and we got all of this going on. So Jasmine is pretty much like, I'm not trying to all put this on Bria, but it's just like, I'm going through a lot right now, and I don't need this type of stress, And they do her confessional, and Jasmine is just overwhelmed. She's pregnant. She's 4 months pregnant. Her husband is deployed. This is her first pregnancy. She doesn't know if Silas is okay overseas, and it's a lot. And as someone, like I told y'all, I'm an Army brat. The first deployment is the one that's the most uneasy, because it's like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like she said, it can get extended. They get, like, sometimes people have options, but most of the time you don't. And it's the fact that, like, she found out that she was pregnant while he was overseas and all of this stuff. So I can tell that she's overwhelmed. On top of that, she's feeling isolated because nobody in the house really rocks with her like that. She even said at the table, I only knew I was cool with Alex and Bria before I came to this house. Everybody else ain't really returning my phone calls. So it's just a lot going on right now. So when Jasmine said in her confessional, or she said, I'm just tired of people flip-flopping, I was like, how is Bria flip-flopping? And then when I was on Twitter, people pretty much explained that Bria had done like an interview, I guess, with somebody on YouTube, I'm not totally sure, where she said that she was like cool with Mariah. Like, her and Mariah don't really have beef. So I think Jasmine is like, girl, you said you was cool with her. Now that the cameras are rolling, you not cool with her? Like, you doing too much right now, and I'm overwhelmed. So then Bria talked about the disrespect that's been given to her. And I'm like, disrespect? Like, Bria, you came in the house season 1 disrespectful when you brought Milo and didn't make sure that it was okay with everybody else. That was disrespectful. Emotional support or not. Like, you don't know if people have allergies. You don't know if people are afraid of dogs. Like, that was selfish of you. And I'm a dog person. So I probably wouldn't have been mad about Milo being in the house, because I like dogs and I like animals. But I also think it's inconsiderate to bring an animal when you don't know if everybody's okay with that animal being there. Luckily, Milo is small. But if Milo was like a bigger dog, like let's say like a German Shepherd or like a lab or a pit bull, I think people would feel differently, because it's like, you got this big dog in this house on top of it's 10 people in this house. That's a lot going on. Okay, that's a lot going on. And we drinking, we doing all this stuff. So I don't want to have to worry about your dog, girl, like pooping and peeing in the house. So Preston speaks up and he was basically like, Bria, what would you have done if everybody else would have been okay with Phil being in the house and I said no to it? And she was like, I would have respected. I said, girl, I don't think you would have, but okay. And so she was like, I would have respected it. And then Preston is like, sadly, I don't believe that. And Bria's like, yes, I would. So then she starts getting loud. She calls Preston the B word. I was just kind of like, you got to chill on that. But then again, Bria always be getting nasty with people when she feels like she's the most hurt in the house. We saw her cuss out Nick later on in the episode. So it's just like she just be disrespectful all around when she feel like she's the most hurt. So she started getting loud. Nick is like, you look crazy. Like, calm down. And I'm a Nick. I'd have told her, girl, you are embarrassing us. Chill out. Take it outside, okay? Because Nick was like, you look crazy. And she was like, I don't care. And he was like, well, you should. But he was like, well, you should. Okay, I was with Nick. Yes, calm down, girl. Chill. Like, chill out, Bria. And so, finally, you see you see everyone like trying to console Jasmine. You see Summer hug on Jasmine. You see Noel rubbing Jasmine's back. You like everyone's just kind of like, it's a lot. Alex is doing this like he like this. Nick is just like, it's a lot going on. So then Jordan and Amir get back to the table, and then they got shots. Girl, Bria take 2 shots to the head pretty much. Amir is like, what did we miss? So everyone piles in the car to get back to the house. And like you got Preston in the car feeling like Bria is a brat. And she always feels like she's more hurt than everybody else. And it was crazy because in the car, she was like, I'm yelling because I'm hurt. And I'm like, Bria. She's like, I'm yelling because I'm hurt while she's in the car. And I think in Bria's car, it was Amir, Alex, Shanice, and Noel. And everyone's telling her to calm down. Jasmine's like, she don't even want to have the discussion. So they all pull up to the house. And Milo is tearing Bria's room up. Like he ripping up bags. He pulling stuff off. I guess it looked like a what do you call it? Like just like an accent table in the room. He ripping up the tissue. I said Milo is going crazy in that room because he's tired of being cooped up. Come get your dog, Bria. And so while Milo's tearing up the room, you see the car that had Bria and everyone in it. She's like mad at everybody because they didn't stick up for her when Jasmine said that she was hurt. And Alex was like, well, Alex said like she's allowed to be hurt too, Bria. And Bria was like, whatever, I'm leaving. And then Noel's like, Bria. And then Amir says, girl, whenever she get drunk, this is how she gets. So don't even. Let it go and let God at this point. So we then get this scene of Jasmine and Shanice having a conversation where Jasmine apologizes to Shanice about bringing up the whole stalking thing. My thing about this is Shanice needs to take ownership, girl. Look, if you didn't stalk him, I don't know the particulars of the case, but what I will say is I remember that being on the blogs, that the insecure actor that she was supposedly dating had somebody stalking him. I remember that being on the blogs. So I'm like, the more you would have stayed on this show, the more people would have asked about it and inquired about it, and it would have and then it really would have been on the blogs again because you're on this show and you have more visibility now and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of like, her saying she's traumatized, take your ass to therapy and really sit down and deal with those feelings and emotions, because like they say, you can't shame me if I'm not ashamed about what happened. Like, it is what it is. So Jasmine apologizes to her while they're in the room together. Shanice starts crying and talking about like she took out a loan, she got fired. And my thing about Shanice is, girl, don't ever bring up how you be dating men with status and all of this stuff. Because if you date men with status, you sexting them, you putting out, and they can't slide you a few dollars to make sure you okay. Girl, that's not worth telling anybody about, because you are over here crying, like breaking down because you are you're in financial straits, and that's understandable because, girl, inflation is a mother. But it's just like, it's weird to see you brag about how you be out here, getting the dues with the cash, but yet they not on you. Like, I'm not bragging about nobody that's not dropping a couple of dollars on me. And, make it drizzle, make it miss. It seems like they ain't giving you nothing, but you putting out. But they apologize to each other. We then see Nick, Summer, and Bria have a conversation because Nick was sitting at the table and he was like, why'd you black out on me? And Bria was like, what do you mean? And you see where Nick was telling Bria, oh, Milo's been crying for you. And she called him I think she said drag cream mother effer, something like that. Bria need to be cussed out thoroughly. Okay, Bria is the type of person that, like, you need to reciprocate the same energy, just times it by 2 to let her know, don't ever play with me again. Because I'd have been like, who the you talking to? Like, I'm trying to tell you, your dog the thing you brought with you is crying for you, and you got the audacity to cuss at me. Like, it wouldn't. Nick is nice because I had an attitude at that table. So then you see drunk Summer being like, I love you, because you can always tell when Summer is drunk because she's like, I love you, you're amazing. Summer, calm down. So Bria apologizes because she was like, are you mad? Well, she didn't even apologize. She was like, are you mad at me? And Nick was like, no, I'm just confused, messing with his Rubik's Cube. Then they're talking about, like, because Nick was like, I'm gonna let y'all have this moment by yourself. So he was about to go upstairs. And she was like, no, you always missing out on stuff. And he was like, well, y'all live upstairs, we live in the basement. And then Bria started kind of like slick flirting with Nick, talking about, do you need, like, you want to be my sleep support? And he was like, what is that? So then we end up seeing Shanice and Jasmine get down at the table. And like Jasmine said, there are people who are professional cuddlers. I saw that on a documentary. I wouldn't be okay with strangers touching me like that. That's an intimate kind of thing. But they were all joking about it. And like Nick said, you went from cussing me out to asking me to be your nap buddy. It's too much going on. I said it is not Preston. What's his name? Nick. It is too much going on. So it's the next morning, and we see Shanice and Bria in the kitchen making breakfast. And Bria's asking Shanice, like, you good? You and Alex good? They do a flashback. We find out that Shanice done told Alex, my mom hates you. My family hates you, Alex. And so I'm like, Shanice would have wanted to fight me, or she would have started crying even more, because 2 things would have happened if she would have told me that if I was Alex. One, I would have laughed in your face because I'd have been like, and? Like, who are they to me? Like, who is your mom to me? She's a nobody to me. Or 2, I just would have been real disrespectful, being like, is that statement supposed to move me? Because it don't, because I don't care. Like, I would have been nasty towards Shanice, because what are you doing telling me that your family hates me? Like, is it smoke when I see them? Like, what was the point of that, Shanice? So then Alex comes into the kitchen and she apologizes to Alex. We find out that they're going to play basketball that day and then go to the club at night. So we see a moment between Bria, Noel, and Jasmine where Jasmine is in Noel's room. Bria comes in with Milo, and pretty much Jasmine lets it be known that Mariah is in Martha's Vineyard, but she's not staying at the house. And we find out that Jasmine is trying to be respectful. She wants to respect Bria's wishes because Bria showed up to the farewell ceremony for Silas. Mind you, I'd have been like, you better than me, because if my friend wanted to be in that house, I probably would have had her in that house. But I also understand where Jasmine's coming from, being like, well, she thought enough of me and my husband to come wish him well as he goes across seas, so I'm just gonna reciprocate the favor and like do the same. So while they're playing basketball, everyone's there. We find out that Alex and Shanice used to play basketball in high school and I guess partially in college. But honestly, Alex is like 12 feet tall. It's either basketball or volleyball for him. And Shanice kind of gives that, but you could tell there's like a stark difference from her from high school to now, because I don't know. The way her arms were big, I was like, you were dedicated to basketball, because I like my younger cousin, my little cousin, she plays basketball and she's really good at it. And she's dedicated. Like, she be going to, what's it called? Practices. I'm hoping and praying that she get into the WNBA. She might be one of them girls, okay? Might be getting them contracts. But she's really good. But I can tell how dedicated my little cousin is to it. And it kind of like seeing those pictures, and I mean, I might be putting 20 on 10 on a picture, but as big as Shanice's arms were, it makes me feel like she was really dedicated to playing basketball. So I wonder what shifted to make her not play anymore. So we find out that Noel got sick, girl. She throwing up in the bathroom. Summer is checking up on her to make sure she's okay. Shanice ends up messing up her ankle the same way Preston messed up his jumping on the trampoline. I guess she was juking to the left or to the right, and that foot didn't go with her. So now her ankle is swollen. We see that Preston and Bria don't play the game and they basketball, but they are talking, and we find out that they pretty much make amends. Preston calls Bria a brat to her face, but he kind of sees her as a little sister. And then she's like, well, would you mind talking to Phil on FaceTime? And he's like, okay, I'm down for it. But I think that their relationship's going to change as the show continues or as the series continues, because Preston said on Twitter, that he kind of getting sick of Bria calling him a bitch. Let me see, because I screenshotted it. Yeah, he said it's fascinating being called a bitch, especially because I know those words would have never come out of my mouth. Hashtag Summer House Martha's Vineyard. And then he follows it up by saying, and if they did, it would have been received very differently. And to a certain extent, I agree with him, because, a man shouldn't, we always to be like, a man shouldn't be saying this to a woman. But I also think Bria just be getting disrespectful with whoever. Like, we saw the way she got with Nick, but I feel like y'all should start reciprocating that energy. Like, if she want to get loud and nasty, get loud and nastier. Like, cuss her out, because she need it. So they're cool. We then see them go to the club. So they go to the club. Shanice and Noel don't go because, Noel was throwing up in the bathroom. Shanice busted her ankle. And Bria brings Milo. And she is offended and appalled, like, that they won't let Milo and her into the club. She was like, Milo is international, okay? I take him to Germany, Spain, France, and they always let us in. Girl, you're in America. And I don't know if I believe that either, because to me, like I said, I'm a dog person, but I'm also a dog person that's reasonable. There's certain places I don't think dogs should be. Not at restaurants, unless your animal is a service animal, like a certified service animal that's been through the training and stuff, and you need them, then I don't think your dog should be everywhere. Like, if there's no patio for you and your dog to go eat outside, then it doesn't need to be in a restaurant. And we know Milo is not really an emotional support animal, because I have yet to see that girl get some verified paperwork. Okay. But for me, I just feel like, girl, there was no point for you to bring Milo. Like, why would they want to have a dog around a bunch of drunk people? And mind you, I feel like people like Bria, they be bringing their dog everywhere, are just inconsiderate assholes. Because I remember I worked at Ross for like a year or so. Well, yeah, almost 2 years. And I was there, and I remember this lady came in with a dog. Mind you, our Ross was like in an outlet area. So like down from us was like a Best Buy, a Old Navy, and a PetSmart or a Petco. She brung her dog into the Ross. Why did she allow that dog to piss throughout the entire store, damn near? Like, the dog was in the cart and it was a pee trail following her because it peed, and she didn't tell any of us. We had a customer come up to like the cash register and be like, oh, there's pee, this lady's walking around with a dog peeing. And so the manager had to be like, ma'am, leave. And mind you, we've had other people have their dogs in the store before, but they always either had a blanket or they had a towel, but she was just letting it and I was just like, and you weren't gonna tell us? Like, and Bria give that. She give that. So she on the phone with Simon. She's basically telling Simon that she misses him and how her and Milo couldn't get into the store. She ends up telling us that Simon gets anxiety that she's not around. So it seems like Bria, when she was over in Germany with Simon for a year, was just a stay-at-home girlfriend, because she's talking about she cooked and cleaned for him and he gets anxiety when she's away. That sounds like a codependent relationship that doesn't need to happen. And I'm not someone that rags on like long distance relationships. To a certain extent, I think that they can work if you're in the same country. Like, if I lived in like Texas and you lived in like Louisiana or California, that's different to me versus Bria living in New York and that man living a whole ocean and a couple of continents away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know how this is going to work. Like, because here soon, either Simon's going to have to move to America or Bria is going to have to move to Germany full time if they want to be in a relationship long term. Because in my mind, what's the point of us being in a relationship if I don't reap the benefits of what a relationship is? You know, I'm just out here single in the States, and so are you. Like, you know, if you get what I'm saying. But it's the next morning. We see Amir and Nick cleaning. I am so sick of seeing just them clean. We saw them last episode cleaning up after the phone party, and now y'all not cleaning up. That is nasty to me. If I don't live in filth in my normal, like in my everyday life, why would I live in filth during filming, like during a vacation? I need them to have like a sit down meeting. Like if it was me, we would have a schedule. It's 10 people in this house, which means we're going to be here for 15 days. That means that it's a 2-man group every night. Okay. 2 people are going to clean up. Maybe even 3 people going to clean up every night. And we alternate day by day. It'd have been a schedule because it's not just going to be me and Amir. Like if I was Nick or Amir, I'd have been like, it's just not gonna be us 2 cleaning and y'all not cleaning up after yourselves. That would annoy me so badly. So then we see the conversation between Phil and Preston. And to me, I feel like Preston and Bria have similar characteristics when it comes to this Phil and Mariah situation. I feel like Bria is doing too much about the Mariah situation, mainly because granted, Mariah should have never pushed those clothes into Bria's chest, but Summer shoved you, and you cool with Summer. I just think Bria know Mariah would work her. 2, I feel like Preston is putting 20 on 10 because Phil saying, don't be weak, come get these shots or take a shot is not like, so let me... Because this is the thing. I don't want to discredit Preston's feelings. I don't. Because you have a right to your feelings. You have a right to feel uncomfortable if you feel like someone makes you feel uncomfortable. But I feel like he needs to also be in therapy to unpack how he feels about, the term soft, zesty, and all that stuff. Because we know in the Black community, those are derogatory terms that are often thrown at Black men that don't fit the guise of masculinity that people have for them. So I do understand him feeling that way, him being a gay man or even just a Black man feeling some type of way about that. But I feel like Phil saying, don't be weak, come get these shots was not an attack on Preston's like manhood or him being homophobic, mainly because I've hung out with my friends who are gay or a part of the LGBTQIA community, and they always like, girl, don't be a bitch, get these shots, don't be a loser, take these shots. Like we do that to each other. Like, oh, don't be a punk, take these shots, girl, come on. Like, finish that drink. Peer pressuring you into drinking your whole, like, frozen margarita, or getting another drink. Like, we do that with each other to, like, hype each other up. And I feel like I said, I think Preston was just triggered by Phil, but I do feel like he's doing the same thing Bria is doing. But they have a conversation. We find out that Phil was drunk, and I clocked that. It was easy to clock that Phil was drunk, that he has been in therapy for a year, and that he was like, that wasn't me. But it's like, no, it was you. It just wasn't a nice or a pretty side of you. So you have to take ownership of that. He said the only thing that really hurt him was Alex saying that he wasn't a comedian, and he was like, that hurt his feelings because I guess that is what he does in real life, is being a comedian. And Preston was like, do you make money off of it like that? And he was like, no. And they were able to laugh on the phone. So I think next season, if they get a season 3, which I hope they get a season 3, I feel like Phil and Mariah will probably be in the house full time for next season. But I just feel like when it comes to Phil, I feel like production might have gassed Phil up because I think right around the time Phil came around, there wasn't a lot going on in the house. Like, we did have a few like back and forths and arguments with the house, but I feel like the house brought Phil as like the wild card. And I think Phil was a little too wild for this group because he did too much. He was disrespectful because for me, I feel like the only people that can really be like turned off by Phil is Amir, Nick, and Alex, because he tried to fight Amir and Alex, and he pooped in Nick's toilet and expected him to be like his bottom girl and flush the toilet. Like, that was disrespectful. But I just feel like Preston is putting too much on it. And again, I'm not trying to say that his feelings aren't valid, because they are. Like, he's allowed to feel uncomfortable. He's allowed to be triggered. But also, if this, like, I feel like the situation wasn't what he's making it seem. That's why I think everybody in this house need to be in therapy. Because I was like, I don't know how that bothered you that much. Like, okay, I'm gonna let it go. So the rodeo day. So Amir is saying, let's do a rodeo day. He was like, back in Texas, it either was rodeo or football. And, he chose horseback riding. Mind you, horseback riding is painful. I did horseback riding for a day, like off the lead. Like, we were in Michigan. It was a fun time. It was a group of us. And my inner thighs were so sore for like 2 days. Like, I don't know what I thought like it was going to feel like, on a horse, but I didn't think my thighs would hurt that bad. Girl, I did not think my thighs would hurt that bad. But they all had a good time. On the horses, they ended up playing these games. They had teams. I think the team that Amir was on won. They went bobbing for apples, and I was with Noel. Like, how long has this water been sitting here? Because stagnant water can get you sick because bacteria grows in it. So I was like, yeah, how long has that water been sitting there? But Amir won. He took that bobbing for apples seriously. So they all get back to the house. We find out that later that night, they're going to have an Apollo night. And so Jasmine tells them there's going to be a special guest coming. So everyone's like, oh, I wonder who's the special guest going to be. Is it going to be Mariah? They're like, is it going to be her sister or her mom? So we then get this scene before everyone sits down to have dinner where it's Natalie and Amir on the phone. Their relationship is so juvenile and toxic. It just reminds me of a high school relationship. On top of that, if you are a Bad Girls Club kid like I was, Natalie looks like Angela from the sister season. Like, I was looking really hard at the phone when Amir was looking at her, like when the camera kept panning to it, and I was like, she looked like somebody to me. And then I was like, she looked like Angela from that Bad Girls Club season when they had just the sisters. But she on the phone basically wanting Amir to interpret her feelings because she has an attitude. And honestly, what it is that she's not comfortable with him being in that house with all those women and knowing that he probably had feelings for Jordan and got curved. And you got Shanice, who always naked. And you got Summer, who just be Summer. And then now there's Noel. I think she's feeling insecure. It also seems like she doesn't trust Amir, but I was just like, girl, you would get on my nerves as we was dating because you're an adult. Use your communication skills. Tell me how you feeling. If you miss me, tell me you miss me, girl. Say something. But we then see the rest of the girls sitting except Jasmine, they're all outside around the pool. Girl, I need Jordan to get a better wig because that Prada hat sitting on top of her head. I said, girl, okay. So Bria kicks this off where she asks Noel and Summer, did they have a conversation about Alex? And why didn't Summer tell Noel that her and Alex hooked up? And Summer was like, first of all, I didn't even know she liked her like that. And so something happened where Bria was like, oh, don't come at me. And Summer was like, I'm not coming at you. I'm just trying to set the record straight. Then Summer says something like, was I supposed to tell her that he was inside me and I made him come several times? I said, Summer, you looking goofy. Summer, you was looking goofy. You're looking goofy and you're looking emotionally stunted. Like, girl, we get it. We get it. You are embarrassed and your feelings are hurt because you thought your situation with Alex was a lot deeper than what it is. And you really like him and it bothers you that he doesn't feel the same way. And mind you, I think Noel and Summer's relationship would be totally different if Alex didn't curve Noel. I feel like had Alex actually shown like interest in Noel and Summer probably would be at odds because Summer really likes Alex and it bothers her that he doesn't like her. And it's like, sometimes it's hard to eat your feelings. I've been there where you like a guy and you think it's more than what it is and you find out, girl, you in the friend zone and you stay in there. So I get where she's coming from because she also thought it was deeper because they had sex, but constantly throwing out there that man has been inside you, but then you said the dick was trash, makes you look goofy as hell. and you look pressed and distressed. Like, get over it, Summer. Like, I need you to go outside and scream and cry as much as you can and then move past this because you look crazy. So she gets up and she storms off, and Jasmine and Amir are in the kitchen, and Noel's like, I hate that it went that way. And Jasmine's like, what do you mean? And she was like, Summer walked off because she said this. And Jasmine's like, well, Summer always feels like people are ganging up on her. Amir just looking there eating, talking about, I'm just an audience, I'm just listening. And then when Summer comes down after changing, she and Noel talk, and she's like, can we go talk into the to the sunroom? And Summer's like, yeah. And then Amir's like, what's happening? I said, Amir is me too, because I'd have been like, girl, what's going on? What's happening? So they have a conversation, and Noel pretty much was like, I didn't want you to feel like you were being ganged up on, and I'm sorry for that. And Summer was like, yeah, it's just that, like, I know how Bria is. It's like, once she has her mind set on it, she not letting it go. So when she was like, don't start with me, I'm like, don't you start with me, you pissing me off. And honestly, I feel like it's a combination of things. Bria does have a tendency to, like, be like, oh, don't disrespect me, but then get defensive when people give her back the same energy. So I do feel like that was Summer reciprocating the same energy to Bria, but also it's like misdirected, because I feel like, girl, it shouldn't have been all of that. You should have just been like, look, I didn't tell you that me and him was messing around because I didn't think it was any of your business, because I didn't know you was into him like that. Like, if you feel some type of way, I apologize for that, but I still feel like I'm not in the wrong, and we move on. Honestly, the thing about it is, if Summer didn't like Alex, it wouldn't be all of this, but she liked him, so it is all of this. So it's night. It's time to have dinner, and the special guest is Jasmine, letting everybody know that she's pregnant, and everyone is like, "Oh my gosh, happy!" Alex is like, "I knew, it's blue everywhere. She got on blue. The mind." I said, "Okay, Alex." Then everybody in the house was like, "Yeah," except Amir knew she was pregnant because her boobs got bigger. Everyone's like, "Did you see them titties?" And then Nick is like, you could tell, and she glowing. So, like, we all knew she was pregnant, So they're all laughing about it. We find out that she's 4 months pregnant. They're like, what about Silas? And I guess she got pregnant before he deployed. So in order for him to come over to see the baby, she actually has to show proof that, like, she had the baby. So it looks like only Silas's mom and her mom are going to be in the room with her, which sucks. And it sucks for her that she has to experience this moment, like, by herself without her husband. And like she says, I don't even want to think about that and give that negative energy to the baby. But it also sucks for Silas that he won't be able to experience, like, his son, or, like, because it is a boy. And we found out that she had the baby. And I know he wasn't there because in the People magazine article, they had the baby shower, and you see him on, like, FaceTime. But it's like, it sucks that he won't get to experience being there with his wife, or actually seeing his son come into the world. And everybody prayed for her, which I thought was sweet. Like, I thought that was actually really sweet that everyone walked, like, the whole house gathered around her and prayed. Noel was getting in her bag praying. I thought it was a very sweet and heartfelt moment. Jasmine started crying, but Jordan is a hater. Okay, Jordan is a hater, because when she was in the confessional talking about, this is her first child, I feel bad because this is her first child, and this is Silas is like, I think it's his first child. Like, I'm not sure. Like, girl, what? Like, you're a hater, Jordan. And my theory about Jordan is correct. Jordan is used to being the it girl of the group. She's that it girl of the group. And I think it either bothers her or it weighs heavily in her mind that all the things that she thought she would have by the age she is, because I think Jordan is like 31 or 32, that she doesn't have, and that somebody like Jasmine, who probably wasn't that girl in that group, has that. Like, she's married, she's having a baby, like, life is progressing in a way that she probably would want for herself. Because I was like, why would you say that? And the fact that, like, other people around her seemed a lot more happy than you, and y'all are supposed to be sister cousins. Like, Summer was hugging on her, Noel was touching on her, like, Alex and Nick and all of them were hugging on her. Bria was like, oh my God. Like, it's like other people were a lot more happier that girl was pregnant than you. Like, girl, it's giving hateration, okay? You giving hater vibes. But I definitely think my theory about Jordan stands, that she's used to being the it girl. She's used to being the main one. That's why she was always bringing up, like, she did Playboy and all of that stuff, even though she was ashamed of it, but she still wanted people to know about it, is because I think she believed that things for her were supposed to look up at a certain age, and they haven't come to fruition, which for a lot of people, especially like in this day and age, like a lot of us are feeling that way. Like a lot of things that were promised to us around this age have not happened. And you're like, whoa, what am I doing wrong? But you're not supposed to be no hater, bro. Because you came off haterish. So they have Apollo night. I fast forwarded. I didn't care. The the Mimi kitties or whatever, I didn't get it. You know, I didn't get Jordan and Nick dressing up as each other. I didn't get the acrobatics with Bria and Milo, her throwing up, Amir's poem, but Amir ends up winning, and that was the end of the episode. Before I close out, I just want to say this. Give Summer House a chance, y'all. I've been seeing too many people online talking about, oh, this show is slow, this is boring. It's like, y'all that have, it's like for people who only watch Real Housewives, y'all are expecting these people to like hit the ground running. When one of my mutuals even pointed out, it took at least like a few, like to the third season for some of these housewives shows to actually get good. And for me, I watch other shows, like I've watched the other Summer House. I've watched Southern Charm. Like this is kind of the realm of what this show is in. And it's like, it took about the third season for Southern Charm and Summer House to get good. And I'm like, let the cast build. Like, give them a chance. I also get annoyed with people being like, oh, they're too bougie, they're too fake. Like, they're fake bougie and all of this stuff. Girl, they're middle class or like lower middle class kids or upper middle class black kids. Like, this is how we are. Like, I grew up middle class. And I'm like, there are a bunch of kids who are middle class who grew up in predominantly white areas, possibly, who went to HBCUs. Like let them have this. Like if other like our white counterparts can have shows where you got Mama June, Not to Hot. I be watching that. That's ghetto. But then you have Summer House, you have Southern Charm, you have Beverly. Like if they can have a myriad of different shows that shows different aspects of their culture, we can have that too. We got Love and Hip Hop. We got Baddies, although Baddies is the dredges of society and it's trash. But like, give everybody a chance. Like, give them a chance. Give those other shows a chance. It doesn't have to be the same thing over and over and over and over again, because y'all then start complaining about everything is the same. We got a new cast of characters. Let them just be and figure it out. Chill out, okay? Please. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. And definitely hop down in them comments below and give me your thoughts. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.